Hello again and God bless. We're still reading from the Old Testament, Genesis, and we'll read from the Psalms, and we're still in Matthew, the Gospels of Matthew. We're Genesis chapter 10, the peopling of the earth. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, to whom sons were born after the flood. Japheth's sons, Gomer, Magog, the Medes, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, Tiras. Gomer's sons, Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah. Javan's sons, Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittim, the Danaanites. From these came the dispersal to the islands of the nations. These were Japheth's sons in their respective countries, each with its own language by clan and nation. Ham's sons, Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan. Cush's sons, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, Sabteka. Ramah's sons, Sheba and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod, who was the first potentate on earth. He was a mighty hunter in the eyes of Yahweh, hence the saying, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter in the eyes of Yahweh. The mainstays of his empire were Babel, Erech, and Akkad, all of them in the land of Shinar. From this country came Ashur, and he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, this being the capital. Mizraim fathered the people of Lud, of Anam, Lahab, Naphtali, Pathros, Caslu, and Captor, from which the Philistines came. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, then Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Later, the Canaanite clans spread out. The Canaanite frontier stretched from Sidon all the way to Gerar near Gaza, and all the way to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim near Lisha. These were Ham's sons by clans, and languages by countries and nations. Shem too fathered sons, being ancestor to all the sons of Eber and Japheth's elder brother. Shem's sons, Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, Aram. Aram's sons, Uz, Hul, Gezer, and Mash. Arpachshad's father, Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The first was called Peleg, because it was in his time that the earth was divided, and his brother was called Joktan. Joktan fathered Almadad, Shelef, Hazamaveth, Jirah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, Jobad. All these were sons of Joktan. They occupied a stretch of country from Mesha all the way to Sephar, the eastern mountain range. These were Shem's sons by clans and languages, by countries and nations. Such were the clans of Noah's descendants, listed by descent and nation. From them other nations branched out on earth after the flood. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We're now going to read Psalm 10. Why, Yahweh, do you keep so distant, stay hidden in times of trouble? In his pride the wicked hunts down the weak, who is caught in the schemes he devises. The wicked is proud of his inmost desires, By his blasphemies the grasping spurns Yahweh. The wicked in his arrogance does not look very far. There is no God is his only thought. In all circumstances his step is assured. Your judgments are above his head. His rivals, he scoffs at them all. He says in his heart, I shall never be shaken free of trouble himself. He wishes it on others. His speech is full of lies and browbeating. Under his tongue lurks spite and wickedness. In the undergrowth he lies in ambush. In his hiding place he murders the innocent. He watches intently for the downtrodden, lurking unseen like a lion in his lair, lurking to pounce on the poor. He pounces on them and drags him off in his net. He keeps watch, crouching down low. The poor wretch falls into his clutches. He says in his heart, God forgets. He has turned away his face to avoid seeing the end. Rise, Yahweh, God, raise your hand. Do not forget the afflicted. Why should the wicked spurn God, assuring himself you will never follow it up? You have seen for yourself the trouble and vexation. You watch so to take it in hand. The oppressed relies on you. You are the only recourse of the orphan. Break the arm of the wicked and evil. Seek out wickedness till there is none left to be found. The heathen, Yahweh is king for ever and ever. The heathen has vanished from his country. Yahweh, you listen to the laments of the poor. You give them courage. You grant them a hearing to give judgment for the orphaned and exploited, so that earth-born humans may strike terror no more. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We're now continuing with the Gospels of Matthew, and we're now on 10. The instruction for the apostles. Gospel of the Lord. The mission of the 12. He summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits, with power to drive them out and to cure all kinds of disease and all kinds of illness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. First, Simon, who is known as Peter, and his brother Andrew, James the son of Zebedee and his brother John, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon the zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who was also his betrayer. These 12 Jesus sent out, instructing them as follows. Do not make your way to Gentile territory, and do not enter any Samaritan town. Go instead to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, proclaim that the kingdom of heaven is close at hand. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those suffering from virulent skin diseases, drive out devils. You received without charge, give without charge. Provide yourselves with no gold or silver, not even with coppers for your purse, with no haversack for the journey, or spare tunic or footwear or staff, for the labourer deserves his keep. Whatever town or village you go into, seek out someone worthy and stay with him until you leave. As you enter his house, salute it, and if the house deserves it, may your peace come upon it. If it does not, may your peace come back to you. And if anyone does not welcome you or listen to what you have to say, as you walk out of the house or town, shake the dust from your feet. In truth, I tell you, on the day of judgment it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah than for that town. Look, I am sending you out like sheep among wolves, so be cunning as snakes and yet innocent as doves. Missionaries will be persecuted. Be prepared for people to hand you over to Sanhedrins and scourge you in their synagogues. You will be brought before governors and kings for my sake, as evidence to them and to the Gentiles. But when you are handed over, do not worry about how to speak or what to say. What you are to say will be given to you when the time comes, because it is not you who will be speaking. The Spirit of your Father will be speaking in you. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will come forward against their parents and have them put to death. You will be universally hated on account of my name, but anyone who stands firm to the end will be saved. If they persecute you in one town, take refuge in the next. And if they persecute you in that, take refuge in another. In truth, I tell you, you will not have gone round of the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Disciple is not superior to teacher, nor slave to master. It is enough for disciples to grow to be like teacher and slave like master. If they have called the master of the house a Beelzebul, how much more the members of his household? Open and fearless speech. So do not be afraid of them. Everything now covered up will be uncovered, and everything now hidden will be made clear. What I say to you in the dark, tell in the daylight. What you hear in whispers, proclaim from the housetops. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Fear him rather who can destroy both body and soul in hell. Can you not buy 2 sparrows for a penny, and yet not one falls to the ground without your Father knowing? Why, every hair on your head has been counted, so there's no need to be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. So, if anyone declares himself for me in the presence of human beings, I will declare myself for him in the presence of my Father in heaven. But the one who disowns me in the presence of human beings, I will disown in the presence of my Father in heaven. Jesus, the cause of dissension. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. It is not peace I have come to bring, but a sword. For I have come to set son against father, daughter against mother, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. A person's enemies will be the members of his own household. Renouncing self to follow Jesus. No one who prefers father or mother to me is worthy of me. No one who prefers son or daughter to me is worthy of me. Anyone who does not take his cross and follow in my footsteps is not worthy of me. Anyone who finds his life will lose it. Anyone who loses his life for my sake will find it. Conclusion of the instruction. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me, and anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Anyone who welcomes a prophet because he is a prophet will have a prophet's reward. And anyone who welcomes an upright person because he is upright will have the reward of an upright person. If anyone gives so much as a cup of cold water to one of these little ones because he is a disciple, then in truth I tell you, he will most certainly not go without his reward. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.